So recently I was making a granny square based blanket when I ran into an error. I was working the next round, pretend, and I found that on the previous round I had skipped a space. So I've got these two groups of three double crochets kind of squished together, and now there's only three, there's not enough groups of three on this side compared to the others. Now, this is just a sample for the video, but the blanket I was making is gigantic. It was taking me an hour, hour and a half at least to get around the outside. So when I ran into this problem, I was not going to rip back. If you're making a tiny square like this, just rip back, because the method I'm going to show you on how to fix this today adds 4 more ends to your project. So you have to kind of balance. Is it worth the 4 extra ends to weave in compared to how much work it's going to be to rip back and do it again? That is up to you. So the method that I came up with for this, because I was not ripping back, no way, no how. I got my scissors out. What you want to do is you want to cut the stitches to the left of where your problem is. Now, if you crochet left-handed, you're going to want to do it to the right of where your problem is. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because here's the mistake, is I did this group of 3 double crochets in the wrong spot. They should have been worked into this hole. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to cut this corner. Now, on a bigger project, it might be the side that you're cutting. You're going to lose some yarn to this. Here we go. We're just going to give it a snip. Okay. So get rid of any fluff that's in your way. We're going to pull this apart a little bit until it starts letting us rip back. There we go. And we want to rip to before where the problem was. Now, we also need to unpick in this direction, because we can't just leave this tiny little end here. It will come out. So we need an end that's long enough to weave in. So you're just going to carefully figure out where the yarn goes and just pull that out. You might find using your sewing needle helpful here. And we're just going to unpick, I think, maybe one more. We're going to unpick the 2 stitches, I think. I'm going to get my needle. Oops, that's not the right thing. That is the right thing. Why isn't it out coming? That's the thing. Okay. You see, crochet is quite sturdy from the opposite direction. Okay, and I know that's enough space, but I think I'd rather have the join be over a space than in the middle of a group of 3, so I'm going to unpick this one as well. There we go. Okay, so this, can I tighten this a little bit? That is as far as I'm going to pick. Okay, and when we get over here again, I'm just going to slip stitch into this space here. I think that is good enough. I'm going to cut this end because it is too long now. You may or may not need to do that. Okay, so back to before the error. So you see now everything looks fine. Okay, we've cut the problem out, except we don't have enough yarn now to go around, because the problem was that I missed stitches. If you didn't miss any stitches, if you had too many, you might not need to add in extra yarn, but I do. So I've got more of the same yarn that I would normally put in, but just to be able to show you what to do, I've got the yellow yarn here that I'm going to put into the patch. But if you use the same yarn, you're not going to be able to see the problem. Okay. Now I prefer to join my yarn on, when I'm doing granny squares, I prefer to join on new yarn halfway through making the second stitch in a group of 3. I just find it's easier for weaving in ends. It looks better, all sorts of reasons. I do it on the last pull through. So let me grab the yellow yarn here. Okay. I'm gonna do my third double crochet in that group. Looks a little weird because of the different colors. And I'm gonna do that stitch properly. This is the space I missed last time. I'm going to do my corner here, or whatever you need to do to catch up with where you stopped ripping back, which is here. Okay. Now I'm going to insert into the top of this stitch here and do a slip stitch to join. So you can see my fix there. The granny square is correct. I'll show you that. I'm going to rip the yellow out and do it in purple so you can see how seamless it is. But this shows you where the patch is. And I'll show you on the other side the only ends here. I've already woven in the ends for the square. So the center's done, the end is done. So these are the extra. You see you get 4 ends. You get 1 on each side from the part that you didn't have to redo, and then 1 on each side for the part you did have to redo. So you just weave those in the way you normally would and carry on with your project. Right, so there it is, finished off the way you would normally do it, using the same color yarn if you have it. You see on the back here we still have 4 ends to weave in. Again, this is just a sample to show you how to do it. If your square is this small, just rip back. It'll take you less time to just redo the round than to weave in the ends. Once the math balances to weaving in 4 ends will take less time than ripping back and redoing it, that's when you want to use this technique. Thanks for watching. Here we go. Just get that. Oh, wow, I need new scissors. Okay.